They're here.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. Hulk. Smash.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Here's Johnny. What do you want?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You never go ass to mouth.
Now what is so damn funny?
And here we go. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight.
The Force will be with you. Always.
But the truth! You can't handle the truth! Showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Hey, everybody out there in movie land. It is I, Chris the Dace Man Dace, bringing you the second edition of the For Real Movie Club. Joining me this evening from the Dace Man Show, Gibby.
Really? I'm not here. Don't tell anybody.
Oh, God. And joining us from Fanboys Anonymous, Tom Jackson.
Hello.
And his friend, Ian Phillips.
Hello.
And from Fanboys Anonymous as well, Sam Lassio.
Hey, everybody.
Get it. Made it with like a second. Stop doing it.
This guy's being a pain in the ass.
Oh, I completely understand that. Joining us tonight, we're going to be discussing movie films as part of our second theme for the For Real Movie Club. And since, we're running a little bit behind because of technical difficulties, let's just jump right into things, and we'll start off with The Monster Squad. So what we'll do here on For Real Movie Club, we'll go around our panel, we'll get their opinions, what they thought the high points were, what the low points were, what they thought of the casting, and if overall what they would rank it out of 1 through 10.
Were we actually supposed to watch these movies?
You were so helpful.
No one told me that.
For those of you who don't listen to the Dace Man Show on Wednesdays, this is what I deal with every week.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about The Monster Squad, and I'll give you a little bit of rundown. It's a 1987 comedy horror film written by Shane Black and Fred Decker and directed by Fred Decker, who also wrote and directed Night of the Creeps. It was released by TriStar Pictures on August 14th, 1987. The film features the Universal monsters, reimagined by a team of special effects artists, including Stan Winston, led by Count Dracula. They, in turn, combat a group of savvy kids, one badass, one leader, one sidekick, and one fat kid, to keep them from controlling their world. This is also a twist on horror movies as it reimagines classic monsters unleashed in a 1980s setting because everything that's awesome happened in the 80s. And the film also makes a barb and incest horror sequels with a film within a film is questioned as to how many times can a serial killer come back from the grave. So, let's kick things off. We'll start with you, Sam.
Well, first, just want to say that was a very beautiful reading off of the Wikipedia page.
You're absolutely welcome.
I'm actually, the only reason I knew you were reading off of Wikipedia is because I'm using it because I hadn't heard of this movie before 5 minutes ago.
So I think your overall impression would be this film is it's a film.
This is a movie. My overall impression is this something like a horror movie, monster movie, like the Avengers, like all these recognizable characters coming together as a team.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I don't know, man.
There's no Nick Fury to gather them.
I just need some help here trying to figure out how this is a horror movie.
Because Dracula's in it.
And
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And two mummies. And the Wolfman.
Right.
So it could be a love story with Frankenstein, and therefore it has to be a horror movie because he's in it.
Did you say it was a love story? Because he befriends a little kid.
Yeah, I don't think they were in love. I just think...
No, I'm just saying, it was technically a love story, and there was Frankenstein in it. Therefore, it's a horror movie because Frankenstein's in it, right?
Because he's a monster.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
So, Gibby, since you are so avid to keep poking holes into it, what did you think of the movie that you just watched probably a couple hours ago?
First off, I don't know how in the world they can classify that as a horror movie. It is extremely corny, but it's so corny it's kind of hilarious. Probably one of the best parts is when the leader goes, kick him in the nads, kick him in the nads. What? And the fat kid goes, what? Kicks him in the nads. He goes, Wolfman's got nads.
That was one of my favorite lines from the movie, and he just would not stop harping on the fact that the Wolfman had nards after that.
Oh man, that was great.
Ryan, what was your first impression at the movie?
I was really pleasantly surprised, to be honest, because just from the opening credits and as soon as there was that scene of the little girl reading from the scroll with the old man screaming at her to read faster, I was like, well, this is going to be a completely wasted 80 minutes of my life I can't get back. But sure enough, it was definitely a Shane Black script, had some really snappy, quippy dialogue. Kind of like This Is the End, it was very self-reflexive and a lot of meta humor, just kind of making fun of monster movies and stuff like that. I probably watched a good 20 minutes of it at double speed just to get through it a little faster. But really, if it had better special effects, it wouldn't have been that bad. It was a pretty good satire.
For sure. Ian, what were your thoughts?
I'm pretty much on board with Ryan there. At first, I just thought it was going to be really cheesy, but then when you see Shane Black's name in the credits, you know it's going to be, I guess, cheesy for a reason. And it was very much a product of just like every 80s movie about a group of kids getting in trouble. At least one of them is from a troubled family, obviously. But I thought since it came out at the end of the 80s, it was kind of a really fun spin on that. And it was only 80 minutes, which doesn't happen with a lot of movies, especially I think all the other ones we watched, maybe not Cloverfield, were about 2 hours long. So it's kind of nice we can go through that breezy pace. Mm-hmm. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was like good cheesy 80s fun.
One thing that kind of surrounds this movie is the people that star in it. And now for you guys, I know personally when I was watching it, I didn't recognize a damn person in this movie.
Me neither.
It currently stars Andre Gower, Robbie Kigger, Brent Chalem, Ryan Lambert, Michael Faustino, and Stephen Mott.
Am I supposed to know any of those names?
Well, I do not. I like to watch old movies from the 80s and see who I recognize, but this one I didn't recognize anyone.
Yeah, and just watching it through the thing, nobody stuck out. So what we're going to do, since we don't know who these people are, let's say they did go and make a remake of this movie, word for word for verbatim. We're going to go through around the panel right now. I want to see who you would cast in these roles to play some people, etc. Play some of the characters. We'll start with you, Gibby, because I'm sure you're going to have something about Nicolas Cage.
Oh, man. Nicolas Cage can definitely be the older teenager guy.
So he's going to be one of the 4 kids?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Okay. No, but you almost have to cast kids for it then.
Yeah,
right?
It's hard to know child actors.
Just have Jaden Smith play them all.
Will Smith would totally fund it.
Yeah.
Have both his kids in it, Willow and Jin.
They can do the soundtrack.
I would like to hear I whip my hair back and forth for like The Mummy or something.
I could see them doing one of those ending dance numbers like in animated movies.
Yeah.
Dance number.
But go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just give it. So it's kind of hard to cast, like you said, because you need kids. But for the monsters, let's take a look at Dracula, because when watching this film and posting on Facebook that I was currently watching it for the first time this past week, a lot of people commented that this was the best Dracula they've ever seen.
Huh.
So I kid you not, several of the comments have been, this is the. I liked him because he picked up the little girl and called her a bitch.
There's a lot of what was this rated? Does anyone know?
I want to say it's PG.
Hang on, I'm on the end.
There is some pretty bad words in this for a PG rated movie. I guess they didn't really get the rating.
It was PG-13.
A PG-13?
Oh, okay. This was like
seriously, the homophobia was nuts.
Yeah, there was a lot of it.
That and the whole Nazi references with the German guy too.
Yeah, for no reason, just remind you he's German.
But he says, it should not have made me crack up, but made me crack up when he says, I know how to deal with monsters. Showed his tattoo.
Let's go around the panel real quick. What did you think of, since Dracula was the main... Okay, let's go back to casting the kids. Go ahead, say who the kids are, Gibby.
I mean, for me, I feel like a lot of them, like Jonathan Hill could definitely be the fat kid.
It's Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, whatever, it don't matter.
Jonathan Hill's his stage name.
And I would definitely go with, whatever, Michael. Yeah,
Sarah? Michael Sarah?
Shout it out.
They could be, he to me is a good sidekick for the movie. I don't know who you would do as the main cast guy.
I would cast the really awkward kid from The Way Way Back. His name's Liam James. I didn't really like that movie, but he looks a lot like the lead kid.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, for
sure. The little girl could be what's her name? Hermione from
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
She just looked like a rip-off version of Drew Barrymore in E.T.
It would be great.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is what they were going for.
But like Emma Watson in the first Harry Potter or Emma Watson today? Because then it'd be a little creepy.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I only can think of when I think of kids, I almost have to be when they were kids.
Wait, when we're talking about casting people, can it be those actors at any age or like the age they are now?
Oh, I think any age.
I think
the child
okay. It changes a lot of things.
I think we should get 6-year-old Robert De Niro. I don't know what he was like, but I bet he's amazing.
I agree. That was
19-year-old Meryl Streep to play the girl next door in the lingerie.
The one that was quote unquote a virgin up until like the moment when it mattered.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that doesn't count. God.
Well, who would they just didn't ask? Why couldn't the boy? Did it have to be a virgin girl?
Yeah, I know, because all those kids were virgins. Clearly.
Oh, for sure. Except for the one that lights matches off his shoe heel.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
Going on.
The one who turned into Hawkeye, right?
Yeah, that guy. The Mummy Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I like how he waits 10 minutes, then shoots, and then just stands there instead of reloading it. Waits for him to come right up next to him, and then go, all right, maybe I should get another steak out of my bag.
That's how you know he's a badass.
Yeah, it's a total Hawkeye move. So he was just, and I don't know if you guys noticed while you were watching, all the rooms were plastered with Marvel posters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The 6-year-old with the Punisher poster?
Yeah.
There was also a ton of product placement for Burger King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice it was the entire town square from Back to the Future?
Basically.
No, that was the Universal lot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That is literally I would cast the Back to the Future town square as the town square.
It's a really good town square, not gonna lie.
Got a really big Burger King, very spacious.
I think one of my favorite lines is towards the end when they say, we can't do this in a church, why don't we just go do it in Burger King?
Exactly.
So for when it comes to let's focus on the monsters for a little bit, since we're talking about characters and stuff and casting the square from Back to the Future. Do you feel that they obviously picking Dracula, Wolfman, the Mummy, and Frankenstein made sense? How about the creature from the Black Lagoon or whatever the hell he was?
Yeah,
it was in it for like 1 second or what that one?
Yeah, it was very brief, but for some reason they chose that as one of the monsters. Did you feel that
team needs its Aquaman, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it just felt he felt a little out of place when it came to all these monsters that were running around. I mean, he popped up out of the lake to look at the kid, and then he popped out of the sewer real quick at the end.
Well, he also lifted the, I guess it was his coffin out of the lake, too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was there with him. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, when Dracula thought he was using his powers, but then it turned out he wasn't.
Yeah.
but he didn't know that.
My whole thing, though, is like everyone else, like the Wolfman's a guy. Like they all have somebody else that like they are, except for that creature out of the lagoon. He wasn't like human at some point in time. He was just literally shows up out of nowheres and there. You know what I mean? Like even the Mummy at one point was alive and it was a person, and he just obviously got brought back to life by Dracula. But and then you got the creature he just shows up out of nowhere. Has absolutely no segue into there, and he just shows up lifting up the casket. That's his entrance.
Well, he's just been chilling.
He was just in that pond for all time, and then...
Yeah.
Another thing that, since we harped on the Black Lagoon creature, or whatever the hell he was, origins. How about the Wolfman, and how he was in the police station,
saying, "I'm gonna be a wolf. Please put me in here."
I'm a werewolf. Lock me up.
He looked of all of the characters, his makeup and costume looked the fakest, I think.
Well, it didn't help that he did that like Power Ranger villain thing where he just jumps out and kind of like hops back and forth a little. It doesn't actually do anything.
But not only did he do it once at the actual police station, but he then proceeds to call the police station again at a later moment.
I'm a werewolf.
And the only reason he got the attention of the police station was he told the sheriff he was going to kill his son, or that Dracula was going to kill his son.
Exactly.
Now
I would still take him over Taylor Lautner any day of the week.
Yes. Or like Jay Fox. Never mind.
The real Teen Wolf.
That's the real Teen Wolf.
On top of that, with all these monsters and the sheriff and stuff, there's this lieutenant or his assistant or detective. The only black guy in the film.
I like how he dies first.
Right.
Kind of where I was going with it. Like, you have one token black guy, and
that's just like spirit of 1980s filmmaking right there.
Yeah, this is a deep satire. It's drenched in irony.
You're right.
He can't figure out how to open up the car door in order to escape from a burning stick of dynamite that took like 5 minutes to go boom.
Yeah, because Dracula has pirates.
Well, that's another point. Dracula's go-to weapon was sticks of dynamite.
They didn't say this was faithful to the original tale, guys.
Exactly.
But go ahead.
Based on what you guys are talking about this movie, since I'm like one of the people who hasn't seen it, if they were to remake this, it sounds like it would be really awesome if you got like the guys who do like Pineapple Express and stuff, like James Franco, Seth Rogen. If you got those guys to remake this movie, it sounds like it'd be fucking hilarious.
I could totally see them doing it.
Oh, that would be great. It'd be more of a stoner comedy, but that would probably make it even better.
Probably have a Chris Nolan ending then, whether it really happened or not.
Yeah.
Mummy lights up a doobie afterwards.
Now I want to
know a doobie out of mummy wrappings.
And as they're done token up, they go, "Let's go to Burger King, guys." Burger King.
Get the product placement in.
I didn't grow up in the 80s. Now, I want to know, were these special effects considered good back then, or were they always cheesy? Because I think the cheesiness adds to the movie in general.
I have no idea. I mean, I would say it's probably on par with what everything else in that time frame is, right?
Oh, I feel like I've seen movies from back then that had better special effects. I mean,
you're going to be like talking like Star Wars, probably the second one, right?
I don't know as good as Gremlins.
Then again, I think this had a really low budget. Like, it was, $12 million. I don't know what that was back then, but today that's nothing.
Which is a shame, because if you look at the box office of what it took it in on the States, was only about 3.7, yeah.
Yeah, it did nothing. This was I think this was like right before this might be the same year as Lethal Weapon, or right before Shane Black hit it big with Lethal Weapon, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was Lethal Weapon 2, right?
I think he wrote the first. Did he write the first one?
Yeah, that was his breakthrough script.
And that was that was in '87. So this came out the same. So both get a huge flop and a gigantic hit in the exact same year.
It's only because this one didn't have Gary Busey.
Exactly, that's all it needed.
Obviously.
So, final takeaways. What we'll do is, because we got about 9 minutes left to wrap up this section of the Monster Squad and the humor part of it. We'll start with Brian. What are your final thoughts on the Monster Squad? And then what would you rank it 1 through 10? 10 being this is basically Shawshank Redemption. 1 being this is just, something we shot in the backyard.
My final thoughts are, it wasn't a bad movie, but it definitely has its perks. It's very corny, and if you like them type of movies, it's actually not a bad movie to watch. I would probably rate it probably around like I'd say 4 4.5.
Oh, look at you throwing out points.
Hey, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Tom, what would you rank it, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, final thoughts, I would definitely prefer it to the new Godzilla movie. I'd rather watch this movie in French than watch the new Godzilla movie again. But on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 4, which is like if I saw it in like the $5 bin at Walmart, I'd heavily consider getting it, and then maybe say no at the end. No, I thought it was a fun movie. If you could watch like The Sandlot or any of those kind of old movies or The Goonies and get through kind of the cheesiness that's kind of come about as it ages, and just are in the mood to just kind of watch something and laugh, I think it's fun. So I'd say a 4.
Nice. Ian?
I'm a big fan of these like 80s kind of preteen comedies like that, and this is really cheesy. The whole movie's like pretty cheesy, but if that's exactly what you're in the mood for, I think it's worth watching. And if you kind of have seen a lot of monster movies, I think everyone will enjoy the satire of it. So homophobia aside, I'll give it 5 out of 10.
There you go. A higher ranking than the other two. And Sam, as an outside perspective of hearing us talk about it, would you go see it? And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you'd absolutely run out there and go see it, and 1 being I'm not moving, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 5 as far as I'm in the middle. I wouldn't go out and buy this, even if it was in the $5 rack. But if a friend of mine had it, we were just sitting around and we're like, hey, you want to pop in a movie? And someone says Monster Squad, I wouldn't say no.
There you go.
I just let it happen.
Better than actually just getting up and like, I'm not staying in this room. If you're watching this film, best of luck, people.
Like the new Godzilla movie.
Speaking of Godzilla, the next film that we'll be rolling into, if you're listening to us live, we're going to be going into Godzilla 1998. If you're listening to us on the archive sessions on YouTube, you can click the next video. We'll be doing Godzilla 1998, the Broderick film, not the one that just came out with Walter White. So
Ferris Bueller, not Heisenberg.
So stay tuned, sit in your seats, and we'll roll right in to Godzilla 1998 here on the For Real Movie Club.